have your early line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And a good Wednesday afternoon. Welcome in. Matt Musso alongside Mario Jerez to my right. We have your early line. Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp along for the ride on the audio and video board. Glad you're along for the ride as well. Plenty to get to today. We'll, of course, dive back into the NBA playoffs, recap the Pelicans' disappointing Game 5 loss, but also begin to look ahead to Thursday's game number 6. If time, maybe run through a couple NFL draft things a little bit later on in the show. It's gonna be an interesting day tomorrow, especially in the city of New Orleans, man. Saints have 2 first-round picks. Pelicans hosting game number 6 of the Western Conference first-round playoffs. That's going to be a pretty wild day down there. How are you, Mario?
I'm well, Musso. Well, considering last night was a little tough. Didn't do too good with the picks. And like you said, the Pelicans kind of got smoked in Phoenix. But tomorrow has potential to be really good. I remember back in 2011, last time this happened, the Pelicans were playing the Lakers Game 6. They lost that game. But the Saints drafted Mark Ingram and Cam Jordan that year. So maybe we can get a little double whammy this time. Pelicans win and some good draft picks for the Saints. Have ourselves a good Thursday.
Tomorrow has a lot of potential to be good. Tonight has a lot of potential to be good. And with that, our daily spread.
Daily. Our daily spread.
What are Mario and Musso watching tonight?
I'm talking about big money. Real big money.
This is our daily spread.
Hey, Mario, how about those no runs in the first inning plays last night? Both of them. Cha-ching, cha-ching. If you parlayed them, you had a pretty good night. Let's dive into a couple more. Start with a little 6:40 first pitch. Tigers and Twins. My goodness, what the hell happened at the end of that game last night? That was insane. Just the errors, and you're supposed to be professional baseball players out there. That was a wild way for a baseball game to end. Anyway, though, I like the new logo, Taylor. If you're not watching on YouTube, go watch. It's a pretty good logo. No runs first inning. Twins, Tigers, -130. Michael Pineda for the Tigers, Joe Ryan for the Twins. Pineda will make just his second start of the season. For what it's worth, 1-0, no runs in the first inning. And that one came against the New York Yankees. It's a pretty good lineup. Yeah,
worked a lot for you.
I think it worked a lot for me. Against the Yankees, it's a pretty good lineup. I think we can agree with that. And aside from just the one start this year, Pineda has a really nice history with this angle in general. In 21 starts last year, he was 16-5. No runs in the first inning. He spent last year with this very same Twins squad. So facing his former team, familiarity could play a role tonight. You look on the other side, you see Joe Ryan. I'll give it to you. He's young. But the early returns in the first inning, they've been incredibly promising. He's made 8 starts so far in his career. 5 late last year, 3 so far this year. 7-1 is Joe Ryan. No runs in the first inning. In those 8 first innings, he's given up just 1 hit. As for the lineups that will try to ruin this play, the Tigers have scored a first inning run just once in their last 10. The Twins have scored a first inning run just twice in their last 10 games. I'll take that. No runs. First inning. Tigers, Twins, -130.
We like it. Keep up the good mojo there, Musso. Not so much mojo with me when it comes to the NBA and these big spreads, but it looks like they got me again, Musso, because I am looking at Milwaukee as a 12-point favorite at home tonight against the Chicago Bulls. This is Game 5 of this first-round series, which the Bucks lead 3-1, and the injury report really lengthy here would help to explain the big line. Chris Middleton continues to be out for the Bucks, but Zach LaVine is out. He's in COVID protocol. Lonzo Ball continues to be out. He hasn't played since January. And Alex Caruso ruled out with a concussion as well. And this has been kind of a weird series that Milwaukee has now dominated coming into Game 5, because you remember Games 1 and 2. Got a little sketchy there. The Bulls hung around Game 1 in a game where they covered a double-digit spread. And then Game 2, they won outright in Milwaukee. But since then, it's been complete and total domination by the Bucks. And so far in this series, Milwaukee is outscoring Chicago by 13.5 points per 100 possessions. In the NBA and in the playoffs, that is a big margin. And the Bucks are playing really good defense like they did last year during their title run. The Bulls are only scoring 94.2 points per 100 possessions. That is the worst offensive efficiency in the NBA playoffs. And like I said, Middleton's been out the last few games, and honestly, I thought the injury to him would hurt the Bucks a lot more than it actually has. But Giannis Antetokounmpo has been unstoppable in this series, as he is most of the time. He's averaging 27.5 points, 14.5 rebounds, 7 assists. Drew Holiday playing really well alongside too. He stepped up with 26 points in that game 4, had 7 assists and 2 rebounds as well. And I honestly don't care too much for one Grayson Allen, but he's playing really well in this series.
Who does?
Exactly. 27 points off the bench in game 4. He's actually outscored every Bulls player in the last 2 games. You got to give Mike Budenholzer credit for having his next man up and actually having him ready.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this series just has not gone the way I thought it would. Like, I get it. Milwaukee's up 3-1, but it just hasn't been a very visually appealing 3-1, I would imagine, for the Bucks, their franchise, or their fans.
No, the numbers don't lie. And again, that explains a big spread here. Only once in the first 4 games of the series have the Bulls even reached 100 points. They've shot 27% from the 3-point line in the last 3 games. Can't really generate much offense. No Levine tonight. I don't see how that's going to get better. The last 2 games by the Bucks were won by 30 and 24 points respectively. Now they come home. Chicago's banged up. Their best offensive players out in Levine. Their best defensive players out in Alex Caruso. 12 is a giant number, so I understand if you want to stay away. That being said, it makes sense. I'm taking the Bucks tonight.
Cleveland and the Los Angeles Angels. Tonight, 8:38. So weird start time. 8:38 Central. The total in this game, 7.5. But you know what we're looking at already. No runs in the first inning, -120. Zach Plesac on the mound for Cleveland. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Los Angeles Angels. Let's start with Zach Plesac, because despite the 3-0 record, no runs first inning so far this season, he's my concern. The Angels lineup is really good, and Plesac, more of a contact pitcher. That being said, the whip is low. He's only given up 2 first inning hits this season, and he's kept the ball in the yard. Small sample size, but in 2 career starts versus the Angels, they've hit just 193 off Plesac. So it's been good. Shohei Ohtani, he's been great in first innings, as you might expect. 3-0 this season. Opponents hitting just 091 off the reigning MVP in the first inning. And just with 1 walk, that low batting average, that equals a low whip. Unlike Plesac, Ohtani also more of a power arm, can strike out a lot of guys, wiggle his way in and out of trouble. The Cleveland offense has hit the skids as of late, 0 for their last 6 when it comes to scoring in the first inning. I'll be honest, fading the Angels' bats makes me nervous. But this is game number 3 of the series, and these 2 teams have yet to score a first inning run against each other, and now you have the best pitching matchup of the series so far. So I'll take it. Cleveland, Angels, no runs first inning, -120. If you want to parlay these, it would come back a nice +224. No runs first inning, Cleveland and the Angels. No runs first inning, Tigers and the Twins.
Am I tripping, or has Shohei Ohtani been a lot more commercials lately? I feel like I've seen him on TV a lot recently.
I don't know, but he should be, because he's incredible.
That he is. You know who else is? Nikola Jokic. And speaking of commercials, he was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial in the second round of the NBA draft. Not a lot of people know that. He was big time for the Nuggets in Game 4 against the Warriors. Denver avoids the sweep, but they still trail the series 3-1 going into Game 5 in San Francisco tonight. And I think this is just like the Hawks Heat series in the East that we were talking about on Friday, where Trae Young was good enough to carry his team to 1 win, but that was all they were going to get. Nikola Jokic was awesome in the last game. 37 points, got the victory for Denver, but I think that's all they're going to get in this series. The Nuggets played a little over their heads offensively in that game as a team as well. 56% from the field, 48% from deep. I wish they could share some of that with the Pelicans, but they can't. Alas, I don't think Denver's going to get it done tonight. And on the other side, it's been kind of funny watching Steph Curry with his minutes restriction. He just goes like nuts for short periods of time, then calmly trots back to the bench. It kind of reminds me of the scene in the first Space Jam where everybody does the spit shine. They're trying to clean the gym, and then Tasmanian Devil comes on the court, just cleans it really quick and goes back, and it's all clean. That's kind of how I look at Steph Curry when he's on this minutes restriction. But it looks like he might not be on a minutes restriction much longer, because Shams Kanaraya of The Athletic tweeted out that there is momentum toward putting Steph Curry back in the starting lineup tonight. The final decision will be made before the game. And I've also slowly but surely gained a little bit more respect for Draymond Green's game. I think he's made as big an impact for the Warriors as he has since Kevin Durant left. And we know the numbers with Draymond in the game versus him not playing, but also brings the emotional edge that he always has. And in this series specifically, he's been huge. He can guard any position on the floor at a high level. And when you look at plus minus in the series, Draymond Green is a plus 63 on the floor in this series. That is an unbelievable margin. And there are actually two key trends here that I want to mention that don't bode well for the Warriors, because home favorites in Game 5 that are up 3-1, 55-12 straight up, but just 31-33 against the spread. Doesn't bode well for Golden State. I could still see them cover. I think they close it out tonight. They face the winner of the Timberwolves and Grizzlies in the next round, two teams that both passed up on Steph Curry. So look for that storyline.
Yeah, man, Draymond's been great, and especially defending Joker in this series as well. I get it. Jokic can go off at any time, but I just really am surprised that the Nuggets actually got one in this one. Golden State has just looked so far superior to them, definitely through the first three games. You salvaged that one, but yeah, back in the Bay Area tonight, it comes to an end. It definitely comes to an end.
For sure. Jordan Poole's cooled down a little bit. I could see him heat up a little bit again.
Yeah, I was looking for a points prop on him earlier and couldn't find one after the 11-point performance in 39 minutes in game number 4. I was like, he's gonna have a bounce back, but it's not there.
The Steph situation probably making it a little bit more cloudy, but either way, the experience he got with him being injured is gonna bode huge for the Warriors later in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, potentially. Mario laying both big numbers in the NBA tonight. Gave you a couple of no runs in the first inning plays. Tigers, Twins, Guardians, Angels. A parlay of those would come back at plus 224. That's our daily spread. Time for our first break of the day. Come back on the other side. Talk Pelicans Suns Game 5 and start to look forward to Pelicans Suns Game 6. That's next on Early Line, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Mario and Musso, the Early Line.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
For a Wednesday edition of Early Line, as we recap Game 5 between the Pelicans and Suns in their first-round playoff series and look ahead to Game 6, and we're one day away from the NFL Draft. Join us at 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, my chair's starting to sink, and that's a little bit appropriate, I think, after the performance from the New Orleans Pelicans last night. They fall in Phoenix, 112-97. Suns now lead the series 3-2. Game 6 tomorrow in New Orleans, 6:30 tip, which is very welcome over here. Not going to miss these late tips. They're killing me. Very happy to go back to the normal tips. It will be the early game on Thursday. As far as last night's game, it was a slow start for the Pelicans. It was a little bit of regression from Brandon Ingram, who had been dominating lately, and Mikal Bridges kind of dominated Brandon Ingram at certain points in that game, defending him. Also had 31 points for the Phoenix Suns. Now for the Pelicans, it's win or stay home tomorrow night.
Yeah, look, we're obviously going to get into the game itself and just what led to the loss. But just kind of surface level, overriding thought that I had with this one was, man, it feels like that one kind of got away from them. And look, don't get me wrong. This is still a win, right? Obviously. You've gotten this series to 6 games. You're likely to get it to 7, I think, which nobody thought coming into it. But when you allow yourself to get greedy, you allow yourself to be disappointed. And I actually was a little disappointed last night just because outside of the slow start, even with that, with the turnovers, even with shooting 40% from the floor and 20% from 3, the Pelicans were down by 7 in the fourth quarter and had a chance to win. Like, outside of the first quarter, you played even with them or beat them the rest of the game. It was a little disappointing, and that's kind of what happens when you allow yourself to get greedy like we did with this and wanting more out of something that was already a win. You've gotten it to 6. You'll probably get it to 7, and that's okay regardless of what happens. But last night was kind of the first time I was just like, man, you should have had that one.
I'm with you. It's great they're here. It's a victory alone. The away team in a playoff game booing Jose Alvarado as a Pelicans fan gives me so much life. Like, imagining that in October would have been imagining something impossible, but that is what's coming to fruition. That being said, you're right. There was opportunities for the Pelicans to take this game, and even though the Suns don't have their best scorer in Devin Booker, they might get him back soon. We'll talk about that in a moment. They're still a team that was in the NBA Finals last year, championship pedigree. They have a lot of experience, and the margin for error against them is going to be really, really small. Had the Pelicans got off to a better start yesterday, they would have been right there. And there's a lot to critique when it comes to New Orleans, but I do want to give a tip of the cap to Mikal Bridges, who, like we said, was dominant on offense and defense last night. 31 points, also had 4 blocks. He is the runner-up for NBA Defensive Player of the Year this year. And I thought he kind of took the matchup with Brandon Ingram a little personal yesterday, because in the 2 games in New Orleans, especially that last game, Brandon Ingram was kind of cooking him. And the Suns weren't about to bring a double team towards Brandon Ingram because they have some of the best individual defenders in the league, in Bridges, in Jay Crowder, but BI was kind of having their way with him in the last few games. This game, Mikal Bridges stepped up defensively, and then offensively, he could not be stopped. 12 of 17 from the field, also had 5 rebounds, was getting the Suns out in transition with those long boards, and this is a guy that I have a lot of respect for, because not only has he played in every game this season, but Mikal Bridges, in an era of load management in this league, has never missed a game in his 4-year NBA career. That's really impressive, and the Suns needed somebody to step up with Devin Booker out, and Mikal Bridges did that last night.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges was just insane. I mean, that 6-point run he went on by himself, 6-point swing it was the dagger in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was done when he hit that last 3 there. It was like, well, it pretty much does it, doesn't it? The 3-point percentage for both teams really has been a large topic over the course of this series, where the Pelicans struggled at times, then heated up. The Suns struggled really for the majority of the series. They finally heated up last night. I mean, they shot 37%, made 10 3-pointers, and they were coming from everybody. I mean, Campaign finally got one. You mentioned Mikal Bridges. Jay Crowder was hitting threes last night. It was the equalizer for them, really, because, and I will also say this, they were wide open threes. Like, the Pelicans, while they didn't play great offensively last night, they really played bad defensively. Like, I was much more frustrated with just the easy looks up and down the floor for Phoenix, whether it be for 3, whether it be in the paint. The difference is, though, they made those 3-pointers now when they really just hadn't throughout the course of the series.
And the Pelicans did not make them yesterday.
No.
5 for 25 isn't going to win you many playoff games. And we talked a lot about Chris Paul. Number one, the factor of rest, coming off of only 1 day's rest. He looked like he had a lot of energy. And that left hand looked just fine for CP3, although Jose Alvarado did get him a couple more times. Second 8-second violation as many games. That was fun to see, but Chris Paul had a double-double last night, 22 points, 11 assists. DeAndre Ayton had some moments where he was heating up, but I thought the Pelicans, for the most part, kept him in check. 19 points to go with 9 rebounds. And then for the Pelicans, not only was Brandon Ingram kept a little bit more in check, 22 points, 7 for 19, but CJ McCollum is not playing good offensively right now, I think, throughout the whole series. And last night, he had 21 points, but he needed 22 shots to get it. 7 for 22 from the field, has shot less than 40% from the floor in 4 out of the 5 games this series. And I feel like he's missing a lot of the shots that he normally makes, but either he's tired or he's just out of rhythm. I think he needs to keep shooting the ball, but maybe he needs to be a little bit more balanced, do a better job of picking his spots. And maybe Willie Green needs to draw up some plays for him, because the Pelicans will need CJ McCollum scoring eventually if they hope to win this series.
Yeah, no, man, I'm with you. I mean, he's got to step up. There's just no way around it. I mean, he's been so big for this team since the trade. And I mean, look, you got 21 from him, 22 from Brandon Ingram. You kind of need more from both of them, but it's tough to come down on BI right now when he's kind of carried the team throughout the play-in and this playoff series so far. Yeah, he needs a little bit more from somebody to step up, and that's something we talked about so much with this Pelicans team, not just in the playoffs, Mario, not just in the play-in, but really since the All-Star break, kind of throughout the entire season, and it's been multiple guys stepping up each night. It wasn't last night. I mean, Game 4, it was B.I. and Jonas. Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado as well, obviously. But, like, just those were your 2 guys. I mean, B.I. dropped, 30, and then Jonas had 26 in that game. You didn't have that complimentary basketball last night from the New Orleans Pelicans. And the slow start obviously contributed to that. But they couldn't make enough winning plays even down the stretch, even though they were right there. It was disappointing.
The role players for the Suns were much better than the role players for the Pelicans. And
yes,
that was kind of flip-flopped when the games were in New Orleans, right? But like you said, the core 3, although they weren't efficient, you still got 22 from B.I., 21 from CJ, 17 from Jonas Valanciunas. But the only other Pelican that even hit double digits was Jose Alvarado, who had 12 points in 20 minutes. I'm starting to think if Willie Green should maybe shorten his rotation a little bit. I know Jackson Hayes has played some really good basketball since the play-in, but Larry Nance, for matchup purposes, might be a little bit of a better option right now. He could space the floor a little bit better. And I think Willie Green's leash is way too short with Trey Murphy right now. I think he needs to see the court a lot more than he is. Just because he's not playing perfect doesn't mean he does not need to be on the court. And just because he's not shooting the ball well doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't need to be on the court. He's improved the rest of his game. He's getting himself a lot better looks. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of deflections. I would like to see more Trey Murphy. And I know we've talked a lot about Devontae Graham, Jose Alvarado. Devontae was not good yesterday, but he had been good the last few games. And I told you this before the show. I kind of like what Willie Green is doing with Jose right now and not playing him too much until the fourth quarter, when Chris Paul's a little bit gassed and he has all this energy pent up, and Jose can just be unleashed on that fourth quarter unit for the Suns. So the role players were really good for New Orleans in that game 4, but they got outplayed by Phoenix's role players last night.
To your point about Trey Murphy, 13 minutes last night, and he didn't even get a shot up.
Exactly.
Didn't get a shot up. That's especially on a night where you're struggling so much from 3. That's a guy that can knock you down 2, 3, 4 of them, just kind of boom, 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 and maybe give you that lift. I would like to see more Trey Murphy, too. I'd also like to see him earlier. I'd like to see more and earlier in the game for Trey Murphy. 13 minutes is, with the big shots that guy's hit for you already this postseason, that's too little. And for him to not even be able to get a shot up in those 13 minutes is bitterly disappointing.
It makes no sense. I told you before, it reminds me of Monty Williams and Marcus Thornton back in the day, to where he was clearly the option that the Pelicans needed for a scoring punch, but Monty just did not want to play him. I'm kind of getting the same vibe with Willie Green and Trey Murphy right now, but we'll see if he gets more minutes down the road. Also want to talk about Devin Booker. He's been really animated this series, I guess is the word I want to use, despite the fact he hasn't been in uniform. But I think the referees just think he's an assistant coach at this point or something, because he's been constantly in their face. But the good news for Suns fans is that Devin Booker might be back soon. He's been seen working out at the team's practice facility. He also yelled, "I'm back," to the Pelicans bench as he was walking off the court yesterday. So no formal update. Yesterday when we were speculating, we both kind of thought that if the Suns lost the game last night, there was a really good chance that Devin Booker would play Game 6. Now the Suns have won, and there are rumblings that he might play anyway, and that would not be good for the Pelicans.
It'd make things tougher for sure. I just wouldn't do that if I'm the Suns yet. I'd make sure he's 100% or as close to 100% as he possibly could be for either a Game 7 or the next series in general. Why force it? I mean, look, you did a lot of good things last night. If you can replicate that, you can beat New Orleans on their home floor. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this still goes 6. I don't think you need Devin Booker to particularly do that. If you're Phoenix, I wouldn't rush him back. That's when you start thinking about it. You put yourself in the Suns' shoes. You start thinking further down the road of title, like actually winning the entire thing. You're gonna want Devin Booker to be really healthy there. You rush him back for a Game 6 where you're not even facing elimination, and he tweaks that hamstring again, and now you're looking at him possibly being out for the, obviously the next playoff series, but then even the conference finals and maybe even beyond. So maybe he's back. I've seen the videos like you have, Mario, of him working out. If I'm the Suns, I'm not forcing that.
The flip side is the Suns might just have a lot of respect for the Pelicans. Like, if your best player is healthy enough, gets the clearance to play Game 6, why are you going to risk not having him, potentially losing that game to a team you already lost to in that building, and then putting yourself in a scenario where, yes, you have Devin Booker, but it's a win or go home. It's a Game 7 to where if you don't win, your season is over. And if you did activate Devin Booker sooner, maybe you could have closed it out and avoided that situation.
But you do have Game 7 at home.
That is true.
I mean, that's a big factor in this. Look, I sat here yesterday and we were kind of talking about the spread on the game and 6.5, and looking at your previous games in the series where there was separation in all of them, and I was spooked away from it because mainly Phoenix playing at home, and it felt like after the way Game 4 went, that the Pelicans were walking into a Hornets nest, as will in footprint center, and man, they were in that first quarter. They got blitzed early in that game, and they couldn't recover. So, I mean, depending on how things go on Thursday night in the blender, you could have that same exact scenario for Game 7 in Phoenix.
Could be. And we know that this team has kind of grown up a lot. We saw what happened Game 4 with Brandon Ingram kind of elevating himself to superstar status and what all the role players were doing. But I think the crowd got to them a little bit yesterday. And we knew the refereeing was going to be maybe a little different. I'm not saying the officiating was bad or it was good, but I thought Joel Myers during a TV broadcast, Bally Sports, had a really good line when he said $10,000 went well spent by Monty Williams. Definitely let him play last night.
Yeah, and then, you know what's even funnier about that is you still had the free throw disparity regardless. Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's not officiating. It's just kind of the identity of the teams, right? The Pelicans get to the line a lot. The Suns don't. Suck it up. That's kind of how it is. I mean, if you're going to have all of that, fire you had in the first meeting, or not in the first meeting, in Game 4 after the game, well, you had just about the same free throw disparity in game number 5, but you won, so you don't really care, do you? Like, that's ridiculous. Also ridiculous. This is what I want. If Devin Booker doesn't play in Game 6, can we get a prop bet on will he walk out to half court?
They should
will he or won't he walk? Because this is like twice now that this has happened, and I really don't understand.
You get some really short odds there for sure.
I don't know. What's he doing? Like, what is he doing?
You tell me, but you made a really good point about the free throw disparity because the Pelicans still shot 35 last night to the Suns 20, and Devin Booker draws more fouls than anybody else on the Suns, so that is going to happen.
Yeah, look, maybe it wasn't 42-15 or whatever it was in game number 4, but it was still a 15. They were plus 15 from the free throw line. And it kept them in. Look, that kept the Pelicans in the game in the third quarter. I think they finished 12 of 12 from the stripe in the third quarter, which, by the way, they won that quarter again. Didn't really matter. They gave up 30 points. But I know everybody wants to focus on the misses down the stretch, but without the free throw line in the third quarter, they're not even in that game. So, I mean, I get it. Make your free throws. It wins and loses games this time of year. Believe me, I understand. But they shot 80%, and without that, they aren't even in the game near the end.
Pelicans fall to the Suns last night, still alive in the series. Phoenix leads 3-2 going into Game 6 in New Orleans tomorrow night, 6:30 tip-off. We will preview that game on tomorrow's show. Speaking of tomorrow, that's when the NFL draft is. On the other side, we'll talk a little bit of NFL draft. This is The Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know. And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. We're a day away from the draft. Sean Salisbury joins us. We're recapping Game 5, Pels Suns. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're getting the early line with Mario and Musso on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
NFL draft tomorrow, Mario. We talked a little bit about this with Raphael yesterday, a couple different plays that he might have liked. So we've gone through a little bit of it. I want to do a little bit more of that and kind of focus, obviously, on the Saints here. But it is worth noting Trayvon Walker shot up the board earlier this week. It is now the betting favorite to be the first overall pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see if that happens. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson was that guy for so long. Just as quickly as that happened, I think it did take a few people by surprise. When you look at the Saints specifically, though, obviously we know they have 2 first-round picks, number 16, number 19. Then they have another one in the top 40 as well. We haven't talked a lot about this as of late, really, but we did during the season. Where the Saints might go in the draft. For me, it's receiver in the first round. And right now, the books don't really see that as much. I mean, you look at Caesars, it's obviously just one book, but Caesars lists the Saints at plus 280 to select a receiver with their first pick in the first round. That's behind offensive lineman and quarterback. You would remember yesterday, Raphael, one of the picks he said he likes with value was the Saints taking an offensive lineman at number 16. Caesars has it at plus 240.
Well, the Saints still have Mickey Loomis, obviously, so recent trends might still be kind of relevant. But obviously, it's the first year of the Dennis Allen era, no longer Sean Payton. And in the past, when it comes to wide receivers specifically, I think the Saints kind of look for value later down the road. Michael Thomas, second-round pick, still really high, but not a first-round pick. Marquez Callaway, second-best receiver on the team, was undrafted. We know what Marcus Colston was back in the day, almost not drafted, second-to-last pick in the 7th round. And we were just talking with Taylor during the break that this draft class is considered thin for quarterbacks, but it's considered really, really deep for wide receivers. You might be able to get a good one down the road somewhere. Also, Sean Payton had some interesting comments earlier this week about you don't need to draft the wide receiver in the first round. Again, he's not the head coach anymore, but he's really plugged in probably to what's going on over there. So that's something to consider as well. The Saints have gotten good wide receivers before, but they haven't really reached for them that much. I don't think they've took one since 2014 with Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, that's the last time they've taken one in the first round. And look, They did have the meeting with Jarvis Landry, obviously, a few weeks ago.
They've been flirting for a long time. They need to sign a contract.
They have. Well, I think, to be fair, Landry's waiting until after the draft. Like, that came out of his camp that he's going to wait until after the draft before signing anywhere, not just with the Saints, anywhere. It's still just the biggest need for me. But I'm with you. They haven't done it. And you mentioned Sean Payton saying you don't need to. And like you said, he's not the head coach and whatnot, might be plugged in. It's more than that. I mean, he obviously shares a similar philosophy with a lot of the guys in that room. Now, how much has that philosophy changed since Sean Payton has moved on and into retirement or whatever you want to call it, air quotes? I don't know. For me, when I look at the Saints, the two biggest needs are the ones there at plus 240 and plus 280. It's offensive line, particularly left tackle, or offensive tackle in general. Maybe you slide Ramczyk over. I don't know, but it's offensive tackle and wide receiver. You have to have somebody to complement Michael Thomas this year. And if you don't get it in the draft, you have to get it in free agency. And it's probably going to have to be somebody, like a Jarvis Landry or down the road. I mean, I would imagine that the Niners don't trade Deebo Samuel. We'll see.
That's a funny situation.
We'll see how that happens. What is interesting, though, is a position that has better odds than both wide receiver and offensive lineman, which I think everyone would agree is the Saints' biggest needs, is quarterback at plus 175, and I don't get it. I don't get it. You just mentioned it. It's not a very deep draft for a quarterback. Anyone the same, if they trade up, okay, maybe, but they'd only be trading up for Malik Willis. Anyone else quarterback-wise would be there for them at 16 or 19 in the draft, and I don't see those guys like a Kenny Pickett, like a Matt Corral really being that enticing to the New Orleans Saints this year. And they just drafted Ian Book last year.
Exactly. I don't really get given up on Ian Book after just 1 year. And people say he looked bad in the game against the Dolphins. Are you kidding me? He was playing with people that were trying on their equipment in the locker room. That was not
fair.
That was not a real NFL roster.
But he didn't look good.
No, he didn't. But still, and again, different head coach. So you might kick the can on a couple of things, or you might just cut your losses all the way. We'll see what they do. But I don't feel very good about this draft class in general. I wouldn't be really excited if they got any of those guys, but that's just my opinion. When a trade is made like this, though, typically, at least in recent history, it's because they want to get a quarterback. And another element that kind of makes it weird, I think, is that the Saints have Jameis Winston and they have Andy Dalton, too, who's a very capable backup, somebody who's really experienced. So you can build on this team and draft a position that's more of need. Maybe not even wide receiver or offensive lineman. Maybe you shore up the defensive line a little bit, but you already got your starter in Jameis Winston. You already got your backup in Andy Dalton. You'd have to really, really, really like the skill set of a guy that's likely not even going to play this year to reach and take a quarterback with one of those picks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't think, maybe Malik Willis. I mean, he's turned a lot of heads, but I don't think the Saints are going to be able to make a package to move up for him anyway. But like that might be the one guy who, okay, maybe has that actual potential to be the franchise quarterback. That I think most people would agree on. I mean, is anyone really that excited about Kenny Pickett? Or, I mean, no, I'm not. It doesn't seem like teams are. I mean, if the second quarterback off the board is going to come in the teens, that's just not a strong class.
No, and even just like listening to interviews, whether it be anonymous or people on the record, a lot of people, Bruce Arians, one of them, he said it a lot, this quarterback class is really thin. And I'm not any quarterback guru over here, but I don't know if Matt Corral's game is going to translate to the NFL. I thought he had a great scheme in college. He was thrown to a lot of wide open people. Malik Willis, I know a lot of people are infatuated with him, but just based on what we've seen on the things we've talked about on this show, I bet against Malik Willis's team twice, and he kind of got thrown around both times. One was against Ole Miss, okay, tough step up in competition on the road against an SEC team, but the other was against UL, when Liberty were double-digit favorites. And maybe you don't base too much on 2 games, but this is what I saw. And a lot of Malik Willis and the people impressed with him, I feel like they were impressed with him because of what he was doing at the combine and throwing in a T-shirt or shorts, not really stuff that he did in the game. So I'm not really high on any of these quarterbacks. We'll see if the Saints are, though.
Real quick, before we get to break, Mario, we haven't done a lot of win total stuff in the NFL yet. And look, that'll obviously come, especially in the summer. But while we're doing draft, and pre-draft is always kind of a good opportunity to look at where your team is, and these will be adjusted, obviously, after your draft. The New Orleans Saints at DraftKings set at 8 for a win total, over/under. Both coming back $1.10. That obviously says a lot about losing Sean Payton, because the Saints won 9 games last year when they played 4 different quarterbacks and had Sean Payton on the sideline. You could argue, I mean, look, you've got your starting quarterback back this year. You lost a couple pieces on defense, and you lost your left tackle, so that's understandable. But, I mean, you still have some studs out there on. I mean, you still got Lattimore. You still got Paulson Adebo
Healthy
and
Mike,
Roby.
finally, hopefully.
Hope a healthy Mike Thomas coming back. Look, I mean, obviously Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended for some time this season. We know that, but you still have DeMario Davis. Like, you still have pieces around there. That just seems like we don't trust Dennis Allen yet. Because if I look at this New Orleans Saints roster as is right now, I think they can get over 8 wins.
I don't know, man. They really need to address some of these positions that we're
They
talking
do,
about in
but-
the draft, because just on the surface, just think about what they've lost so far and what they've added. Marcus Williams, Malcolm
big loss.
Jenkins, we were saying was a top 10 safety unit in the NFL, if not top 5. You've lost both of those guys and replaced them essentially with Marcus May, who's a decent player on the Jets, but he's injured right now and he's dealing with legal problems, and Daniel Sorensen, who when he was signed by the Saints, all the replies was a bunch of gifs of a bunch of suicide jokes from Saints fans. That's how they were feeling about the signing of Daniel Sorensen. And Teron Armstead, he was a really good player for a really long time. Yes, he was banged up a lot of the time, but even in his banged up status was a really good option at left tackle. The Saints don't have anybody there right now. So there's still a lot of work to do for Mickey Loomis. I will give Dennis Allen a chance, but the way that things sit right now, I would understand why some fans are pessimistic.
I would not say they don't have anybody for left tackle right now. They might not have the best option. You don't have the Teron Armstead, but you said it. He was banged up. And when he was not out there, you slid somebody in there and you were still a very good offensive line. You lost one piece off of what was, when healthy, is the best 5 offensive linemen in the NFL. So I wouldn't say they have nobody there. I'm just saying, when you cut the losses that they've had this offseason and you look at them actually having 9 wins last year with everything they went through, with guys in and out of the lineup, some of these same guys we're talking about them losing, the factor here is losing Sean Payton.
Yes.
As to why this is this low. If Sean Payton is the head coach, they're not pegged at 8 wins right now.
Yeah, that win total is a lot higher, but we'll see what happens. Like you said, this is the start of this kind of season. We'll have more fun, but we'll have a lot more clarity after the draft.
We'll have, and the totals will be adjusted and whatnot. We got to grab a break. We're late for one here. Come back, close out early line next. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Early Line. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. The Baton Rouge Clinic brings you the 2022 Dreams Come True Radiothon. Help make a dream come true for a Louisiana child with a life-threatening illness today by making your donation at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
On Thursdays, Off the Bench, we slide into the weekend series. Coach Jay Johnson as LSU prepares to take on Georgia. Plus, we preview Pell's Suns Game 6. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Early Line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up the show here on a Wednesday edition of Early Line. Time now to address today's Citizens Bank poll of the day. And the question posed to the audience was a basketball question. Who will have the better NBA career, Alex Caruso or Ben Simmons? Two guys that once faced off against each other in college. Both were SEC players, Caruso at A&M, Ben Simmons at LSU. 91% of the audience thinks that Alex Caruso will have a better career than Ben Simmons. Musa, Ben Simmons has been an all-star before. Caruso is not. His numbers are much better, but Alex Caruso is an NBA champion. And Alex Caruso, how do I put this delicately? Alex Caruso's mentals are a lot better than Ben Simmons' right now, and that makes me feel a lot better about Alex Caruso's future.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is going to have a better career than Alex Caruso.
We will see, man. I would think so, yes, but you've seen how far Ben Simmons has already taken this thing. He's suing Philadelphia right now for $20 million. It might linger a little bit, but that's a conversation for another day because we got 2 minutes left in the show, and I wanted to have this conversation with you real quick. So right now, the NFL is trying to determine who the Saints' opponent will be in London when the Saints travel to England to play one game. Coming up in the 2022 season, they will play either the Falcons, Seahawks, Panthers, Ravens, Buccaneers, Rams, Raiders, Vikings, or the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's kind of been a topic of debate whether or not the Bengals coming to New Orleans would be a good thing because a lot of LSU fans, you would think, are also Saints fans. But a lot of people, especially here in Baton Rouge, seem to think that the Bengals would force a lot of people to come root for them that are not Saints fans. In other words, there are a lot of LSU fans that don't always root for the Saints. In my case, being from New Orleans, I honestly haven't seen too much of that. I've seen Saints fans that are not LSU fans and root for other schools, but most people that I know are LSU fans are also Saints fans. Have you not seen the same thing?
I think, yeah, most are, but I do know a couple who are LSU fans and not Saints fans. A couple of my friends are like that. I think what you have is a deeper tie to one than the other. There might be a deeper tie to LSU than to the Saints, and that would lead to more potentially for the Bengals. I think it's definitely possible. I don't know for sure if it would happen. I think if the NFL schedules that game in London rather than New Orleans, they're missing out on a huge opportunity with storylines and things of that nature. So I don't think that would happen, but we'll get our answer because I think that game's actually going to be in the Superdome.
We're in agreement, and I hope it is. That will pretty much do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, draft day, here on the early line. We'll talk NFL draft. Also look ahead to Game 6 for the Pelicans against the Phoenix Suns. AFR, Matt Moscona, coming up next here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So what do you want, Johnny?